So when you were 5 years old, you were really sick, and your pops got you this tape called Breaking, right?
Word.
And you would be going to daycare with your Walkman, letting kids hear it and everything. What was that experience like for you hearing music that you connected with, or like that you found so interesting that early on?
I mean, it was dope, but I was already like, I just loved music from the jump. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't that anything was lacking. You know what I mean? It was just another branch of that shit. And then even like, that cassette. I see you read my bio. Thank you. I appreciate it. Um, so on that tape there was a joint, Grandmaster Flash, Wheels of Steel. And so he chops up a bunch of different grooves and little cuts here and there and shit. And the one shit is Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. I had Queen on 8
Right.
track. So that was the shit that was exciting to me. Like, oh, I know this, but I see how he's breaking it down and shit. And then like, 2 years later, then Run DMC came and Walk This Way. So like I liked how that shit was getting together. Same thing with like Michael Jackson working with Eddie Van Halen on Thriller.
Right. Yeah, I noticed that
Because
about
Van
you.
Halen is like my favorite rock group.
Yeah, I noticed that
That's
about you,
that.
that you
I
have a
mean,
strong
honestly, shout
influence.
out to Van Halen because that's my biggest influence as far as like, yo, I want to make music.
Wow.
Before I had any clue on how to make music, like I took guitar lessons when I was 8. Know what I'm saying? Like I got into it like that, and then but hip hop was always my thing. Once I got introduced, and then I came up at the right time because I got to see the very beginning as a real little kid. But when I'm old enough to start understanding the words, I get Kane, Rakim, G Rat, KRS One, all in a year and a half.
Right.
Special Ed, Sonic, you know what I'm saying? And then mixing that with the rock and roll shit and the jazz I liked, and like it was cool. And even my parents, they had a wide fucking range of shit they listened to. So we could go from Johnny Cash to Grandmaster Flash to Van Halen to Megadeth. You know what I mean? To some Ozzy, Grover Washington Jr. It was just it was like some melting pot shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you were really influenced by so many different genres of music. So what was it about hip hop that made you want to do that versus being in a rock band, whether you be on guitar or you be a singer?
Well, I'm not a good singer. That was one part. You know what I'm saying? I like I like what they were doing with the words though, because a good singer, even somebody like Michael Jackson, the words weren't connecting like how a fucking Rakim joint hit you. You know what I mean? Or ESC. Shout out ESC because he's another big influence, and he's like, I don't want to say slept on because like real hip hop heads know about 3 Times Dope, especially Philly, New York people. But he he did his first album, No Curses, and he was spilling. Know what I mean? Another one like Pasta News, De La Soul. They was spilling and covering everything. I done robbed motherfuckers at stakes is high. Know what I'm saying? So you get that, you get some Mob Deep. I don't know. The words just connected more though when hip hop came on.
Got you. So what was the song that made you feel like, okay, I want to rap now? Like this is actually something I want to do.
I don't think there was one song. I think it was that whole late 80s shit. You know what I mean? Like the Mount Rushmore of the 80s, when they were all dropping their debuts and second albums. And then you get dudes like Special Ed and shit. I was a big Special Ed fan. Even Kwame, that shit was just so dope to me. And the way they were freaking other records. And you know, I think that helped me with production too. You know what I mean? Because I was tapped into other shit. And then I'm seeing how they're flipping it. I'm like, oh shit, I can do that. I can put a different spin on that. You know what I mean?
Right. So, what age would you say that you start actually writing rhymes?
Uh, Probably like I'm trying to think of the first one I wrote. It was like elementary, like late elementary, fifth, sixth grade. I think Cool G Rap might have been the one. I mean, I had all, you know, I had all those dudes that I just shouted out and shit. But I had to take speech class because I used to slur my S's and Z's and shit. So, and that was fourth and fifth grade. Fifth grade, fourth grade Kane came out. Fifth grade Cool G Rap came out. And then I'm hearing him slur on his shit, and he's fucking spilling. And I'm like, yo, I can do that. Not maybe not the rapping shit, but you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, yo, if he can do that, and he has the same problem that I have to go to a fucking special class for, know what I mean? Like, that definitely drew me in and kept him in my top 10. Know what I mean? For a long time.
For sure, man.